For weeks, there have been grave fears for Australian man Oscar Jenkins, thought to have been killed by Russian authorities after he was captured while fighting for Ukraine. Tonight, a glimmer of hope. The federal government told the Melbourne teacher is in fact alive.
It was feared this would be the last time we would see Oscar Jenkins alive.
Yes, Australia. I'm Australian.
Terrified, hands bound and beaten on camera by a Russian soldier.
Здесь делаешь что?
No, солдат. Я хочу допомога Украине.
This video surfaced in late December. Within weeks, there were reports of the 32-year-old's death, but they were never confirmed. And late today, the first hint he could be alive.
I'm reticent to confirm that that is the case, but certainly that has been the statement made by Russian authorities, and we are demanding more information.
The Foreign Minister went further. The Australian government has received confirmation from Russia that Oscar Jenkins is alive and in custody. The Ukrainian ambassador to Australia suggesting reports of his death could have been a tactical move.
We didn't have an evidence, and those were the rumours that he was killed, and we've had cases like that before.
One theory, Russia allowed that belief to prosper to increase Oscar's value for a hostage swap. Who they might want in return is not known, but Australian authorities last year arrested Igor and Kira Korolev, accusing them of espionage, a deal which could save a life.
The interest towards him now is very high. You know, good news that he's alive. Now we need to get him out.
But there are still many unknowns, and for Oscar's family, the agonising wait continues. Damien Ryan, 9 News.
Dozens of people are feared dead after a crowd crush at the world's largest religious festival in India. There are conflicting reports on the number of victims, but tens of thousands of people were bathing in the Ganges River at the time. More than 400 million people are expected to attend the 45-day Hindu festival. More than 170 people have been forced off a plane in South Korea as it burst into flames. The Air Busan flight was preparing to fly to Hong Kong when a fire started in the plane's rear cabin. Those on board forced to flee using the escape slide. It's not known what caused the fire. A truck has been swallowed by a sinkhole in a suburb outside Tokyo, leaving a 74-year-old driver trapped inside. The rescue operation made even more complicated when a second hole opened up. Emergency crews have now told nearby residents to evacuate their homes due to the risk of damaging a gas pipe. Google will rename the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America on its maps in the US after President Donald Trump's executive order. If viewed in Mexico, the original name will remain. Outside of the two countries, users will see both names. An attempt by the Trump administration to freeze hundreds of billions of dollars in federal aid has been temporarily blocked in the court moments before it came into effect. The move from the White House had caused serious concerns for charities that rely on the funding to support millions of Americans. Former US Ambassador to Australia, Caroline Kennedy, has spoken out about her cousin Robert F. Kennedy Jr., labelling him a predator. Ms Kennedy was issuing a warning to senators ahead of a confirmation hearing which could see him become America's next health secretary.
I've known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. It's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets, because Bobby himself is a predator.
She also criticised Bobby Kennedy's views on vaccines.
A New Year's Eve fireworks disaster in Hawaii has claimed a fifth life. A month after he was seriously burnt in the Honolulu explosion, a 29-year-old has died at a medical centre. Police say one set of fireworks was accidentally shot into another, causing a massive blast. The 4 other victims were aged between 3 and 61.
Lunar New Year celebrations kicked off today with Sydney officially launching the Year of the Snake. The 19-day festival will see lion dancing, food stalls and performances across the city, including at Haymarket and Town Hall, along with one of the biggest dragon boat events in the Southern Hemisphere held at Darling Harbour. More than 500,000 visitors are expected. It's been 20 years since Concorde's final flight, but supersonic travel could soon be making a roaring comeback. An American company has shattered the sound barrier and is now setting its sights on passenger flights.
They feel the need. The need for supersonic speed.
And she's airborne.
In the skies above California's Mojave Desert, history.
There we are. XB-1 is supersonic, faster than the speed of sound.
The first independent civil aircraft to do so, not once, but 3 times, flying more than 1,350 kilometres an hour. Then touchdown. Mission accomplished. Boom Supersonic's Maverick, Tristan, Geppetto, Brandenburg.
How's the legs after that?
The legs are a little bit shaky. You know, it was exciting. It was a great flight.
The 12th test flight, revving up hopes of a return to the days of the Concorde.
I feel like I'm standing on the shoulders of giants here.
Watching today, Mike Bannister, the last pilot to fly one.
What was this like?
Absolutely fantastic. I really wish I'd been flying the airplane.
This was one short trip for a pilot, one giant leap for supersonic air travel, with the possibility passenger trips may be in the future. Boom's next stop, a passenger jet. Production could start next year. Sydney to Los Angeles, possible in 8.5 hours.
Ultimately, it makes supersonic flight available to everybody.
Maybe as soon as 2028.
Well, hopefully on the first flight I might get invited.
In the Mojave Desert, Jonathan Kersley. 9 News.
The lowest inflation in more than 3 years hasn't just raised hopes for a February rate cut, it also drove a welcome lift on the share market. Money editor Effie Zahos explains.
The big banks, CBA, NAB and Westpac, say today's inflation numbers give the green light for a February rate cut. NAB for now is sticking with May, but that's under review. The share market welcomed the news, closing 0.57% up, just shy of its record high. And all 11 sectors finished positive, with the tech the best performer, as investors now see opportunity on the news of cheaper AI. Star Entertainment was the biggest winner after announcing it's selling off several assets to raise some much-needed cash. Other winners included Bellevue Gold and Seek. The Aussie dollar slumped against all major currencies with today's news of cooling inflation.